Morning, students. In this session, today we are going to see History Unit 5 Chiefdoms to Empires. Students, listen carefully. Make a note of each and every important points in your social classwork note. If you have any doubt, make a note of it. The doubts will be clarified on the reopening day. In this session, today we are going to see the factors responsible for the rise of Janapadas and Mahajanapadas, and also to understand the evolution of Indian polity from chiefdoms to kingdoms. Now let's see the importance of 6th century BC BCE. During the 6th century BC, many territorial states emerged. This led to the transformation of socio-economic and political life of the people in the Gangetic Plains. Mahavira and Gautama Buddha represented this new awakening. Students, the 6th century BC is considered as the most important in the history of India. In India, the founders of two great religions of mankind were lived. They were Mahavira Jina and Gautama Buddha, the founders of Jainism and Buddhism. Students, in Unit 2 already you learnt about the Jainism and Buddhism. It was the rise of Jainism and Buddhism which made the 6th century BC great and glorious. Okay, now let's see the role of iron in a changing society. The fertile soil of the Gangetic Valley and the use of iron plowshares improved agricultural productivity. Students, some historians maintain that it was the introduction of iron implements which enabled the people to clear the jungle and reclaim the fertile land. And the second point is iron facilitated craft productions. Students, there is no archaeological evidence to clearly support this economic change. It was a main reason for the rise of Magadha. The knowledge in the use of iron gave Magadha an advantage over other Mahajanapadas. It plays an important role during this period, and it was mostly used for making weapons, and Magadha may had strategic advantage due to his access to the iron ore. In addition, agrarian surplus and emergence of trading and exchange centers were developed. This is the turn paved the way for the rise of towns and cities. Students, thus the Magadha could establish an empire of its own. There were two kinds of government in North India during the 6th century BC. One is Gana Sanghas, non-monarchical states, kingdoms, monarchies. Students, non-monarchical state is nothing but a non-sovereign monarchy is one in which the head of the monarchical polity, whether a geographic territory or an ethnic group. Let's see what is meant by Gana Sangha. Gana means people of equal status. Sangha means assembly. The Gana Sanghas covered a small geographical area ruled by an elite group. Now let's see what is meant by Gana Sangha. Gana means people of equal status. Sangha means assembly. The Gana Sanghas covered a small geographical area ruled by an elite group. Students, the word Gana is a Sanskrit word. It means people. And the word Sangha means assembly. The phrase Gana Sangha can be translated as people's assembly. In ancient Buddhist texts, which make a frequent reference to the great states in ancient India. Students, interestingly, the Gana Sanghas were generally located in the major ancient Indian states, both geographically and culturally. And then, kingdom monarchy. A kingdom means a territory ruled by a king or queen. In a kingdom, a family which rules for a long period becomes a dynasty. Students, usually these kingdoms adhered to orthodox Vedic traditions. Nothing but a kingdom is often called a monarchy, which means that one person, usually inheriting their position by birth or marriage, is a leader or head of the state. Kingdoms are rarely ruled by an absolute monarch, a single king or queen who makes all decisions for the entire state. Now let's see about the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. Janapadas. Janapadas were the earliest gathering places of men. Janapadas became smaller kingdoms. Uses of iron in Gangetic plain transforming the Janapadas into Mahajanapadas. The Janapadas were small kingdoms of the Vedic age period. Janapadas belongs to 1500 BC to 6th century BC. Students, the Sanskrit term Janapadas compound term made up of two words, that is Janas and Pada. Jana means people. The word Pada means food. The Janapada was the highest political unit in ancient India. They were usually monarchical in nature, though some followed a republican form of government. Now let's see about Mahajanapadas. The Mahajanapadas were a set of 16 kingdoms that existed in ancient India. Now let's see one by one. Kuru, Panchala, Anga, Magadha, Vajji, Malla, Kasi, Kosala, Avanti, Chedi, Vatsa, Macha, Surasena, Asaka, Gandhara, Kamboja. Now let's see one by one. Kuru. Students, at the time of Buddha, Kuru was ruled by chieftain. Its capital was Indraprastha. It is nothing but the present city, Delhi, which was known for people with sound health and deep wisdom. Students, the Kurus were related to people of other communities like the Panchalas and the Yadavas. Next one is Panchala. The Panchala kingdom was located east of the Kuru kingdom, between river Ganges and the mountain ranges of the Himalayas. Panchala was divided into two parts, namely Dakshina Panchala and Uttara Panchala, and then Anga. Over a period of time, the kingdom of Anga became a great center of trade, attracting merchants from the neighboring kingdoms. Anga was eventually annexed by Magadha. Now let's see about Magadha. Magadha was one of the most prosperous kingdom of ancient India. For many years, Pataliputra was the capital of Magadha. Students, do you know? Gautama Buddha spent much of his life in Magadha. Hence, the region is believed to hold great significance to Buddhists. Vajji. Vajji was located towards the north of the river Ganges and was bound by river Gandagi in the west. Malla. The Malla kingdom are often described as a powerful people who dwelled in North and South Asia. Lord Mahavira had his last meal at Kusinara. Gautama Buddha had his last meal at Pava. Both are believed to have hosted Buddha for a long period of time. Kasi. Kasi was bound by river Varuna in north and river Asi in south. Kosala. The kingdom of Kosala was located close to the kingdom of Magadha. Ayodhya as its capital. Kosala was bound by river Ganges in the south. Avanti. Post Mahavira and Buddha, the kingdom of Avanti was considered as one of the four great monarchies along with Kosala, Magadha, and Vatsa. Chedi. Students, the kingdom of Chedi finds great prominence in the Hindu epic Mahabharata. According to the ancient text, Chedi was ruled by a king named Shishubala. Vatsa. Vatsa is also called as Vamsa, which was located near the present day Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. And in Matsya kingdom, Surasena kingdom. Surasena was located to the west of river Yamuna and to the east of Matsya kingdom. And then Asaka, Gandhara, Cambodia. Students, 16 Magadhanapadas dotted the Indo-Gangetic plain in the 6th century BCE. It was a transition from a semi-nomadic kinship-based society to an agrarian society with networks of trade and exchange. Mahajanapadas is a Sanskrit word. Maha means great and Janapada means foothold of a people. There were 16 kingdoms or oligarchic republics that existed in northern ancient India from the 6th to 4th century BC during the second urbanization period. Now let's see four major Mahajanapadas. Magadha in Bihar, Avanti in Ujjain, Kosala in eastern Uttar Pradesh, Vatsa in Kausambi, Allahabad. The causes for the rise of Magadha. Magadha was located on the lower part of the Gangetic plain. The plain was fertile, which ensured the rich agricultural yield. This provided regular and sustainable income to the state. Students, Magadha was located on the upper and lower parts of the Gangetic Valley. No? So, it was located on the main land route between West and East India. The area had fertile soil. It is also received enough rainfall. Forests supplied timber for construction of buildings and elephants for army. Iron enabled them to equip themselves with weapons made of iron. Magadha had huge copper and iron deposits. Because of its location, it could easily control trade. The general prosperity of the people and the rulers was using iron. Growing trade and commerce facilitated movement of people as well as settlement of people in centers of arts and crafts. Rise of town and use of metallic money boosted trade and commerce. The outcome was urbanization and emergence of Magadha as an empire. Now let's see the dynasties of ancient Magadha. The Haryanka dynasty, the Sishunga dynasty, the Nanda dynasty, and the Maurya dynasty. His son Ajatasattu, a contemporary of Buddha, convened the first Buddhist council at Rajagriha. Students, he was a son of Bhatya. He ruled over Magadha from 544 BC to 493 BC. And also, he was a follower of Buddha. And he also said to be an admirer of Mahavira. He started the practice of using matrimonial alliances to strengthen his political position. He had an effective and excellent administrative system. The officers occupying high posts were divided into three. One is executive, second one is military, and third is judicial. And next let's see about Shishunga dynasty. Haryanka dynasty was succeeded by the Shishunga dynasty. Kalasoka, king of Shishunga dynasty, shifted the capital from Rajagriha to Pataliputra. He was a viceroy of Kasi before becoming king of Magadha. The capital was at Girivaraja. And then later he shifted the capital to Vaishali. Kalakosa was a son of Shishunga. Kalakosa shifted the capital to Pataliputra and he conducted the second Buddhist council at Vaishali. And he was killed in the palace revolution that brought the Nanda dynasty to the throne. Now let's see about Nanda dynasty. Nandas were the first empire builders of India. The first ruler was Mahabhatma. The Mahabhatma Nanda was succeeded by his 8 sons. They were known as Navanandas. Dhanananda, the last Nanda ruler, was overthrown by Chandragupta Maurya. Students, this was the first non-Kshatriya dynasty. The first ruler was Mahabhatma Nanda, who usurped the throne of Kalasoka. He is called the first historical emperor of India. And he was murdered Kalasoka to become the king. And he conquered many kingdoms including Kalinga. Dhanananda, the last Nanda ruler. Dhanananda inherited a huge empire from his father. He possessed a standing army for 2 lakh infantry, 20,000 cavalry, 3,000 elephants and 2,000 chariots. He became a powerful ruler because of this. And finally, he was overthrown by Chandragupta Maurya along with Chanakya, which led to the foundations of the Maurya Empire in Magadha. Now let's see about the heritage site Nalanda University. The ancient Nalanda Mahavira is a World Heritage Site. These are the sites to the development of Buddhism into a religion and educational traditions also. In the 6th century BC, the Buddha often travelled past Nalanda. He would usually stay at Pavarika's mango grove. At Nalanda, the Buddha delivered the celebrated Kevata Sutta. The Buddha chief disciple Sariputta was born and raised near Nalanda. In the 5th century, the Guptas, who ruled much of India, established, and it was a highly acclaimed center of learning. Nalanda Mahavira flourished under the patronage of Indian rulers. Nalanda attracted scholars from China, Central Asia and Southeast Asia. And Nalanda comes from the records of Chinese monks. Balaputra, the Malay ruler of Sumatra and Malaya. Nalanda was attacked and destroyed by a Muslim army around 1200 CE. It was eventually abandoned and forgotten until the 19th century. They unearthed 11 monasteries and 6 brick temples from 1915 to 1937. Sculptures, coins, seals and inscriptions have also been discovered at the ruins. These are the sacred places of Lumbini Bodh Gaya, Sanchi, Ajanta caves and Ellora caves. With beautiful sculptures, high steps and stupas, Nalanda attracts seekers of knowledge. Now let's see today's activity. Students, make a model of Ashoka Chakra and draw and color our national flag.